If only I had spidey senses, so I can tell when something's wrong. Oh, and I'm in search to protect this heart from breaking into pieces. Where's my hammer? Where's the shield? All the strength to carry the weight of the world. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall. Fly high into the sky. I'll catch you if you fall. I'll catch you if you fall.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Snap Decisions. I am your host with the most, your Snap DJ, and I'm joined by, I think you're a three-time guest now on the show. It is PRASHAUN. PRASHAUN, welcome, man. What's going on with you?
How's it going? It seems like you got a new intro going. A lot of change.
I did, yeah. I know. I'm actually getting up in the world. Surprise, surprise. I'm actually learning some technology for
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
for a change. Yeah, that's my friend Elevate the Sky. I've known him for a while now. He's a synthwave artist out from California, and he did that song like a while back. It was on his first album, and I was listening to it the one day, and I'm like, "Ooh, this would work really well with the podcast. I wonder if he'll let me use it." And he was like, "Absolutely!" And he actually clipped that little part out for me and stuff like that. It's a really cool video, though. If you get a chance, check it out. It's he uses, and I don't know how he did it. The company that did the video for him got to use footage from like a bunch of older superhero movies, mostly like the original Superman with Christopher Reeve, but a lot of other footage from like the old Tobey Maguire Spider-Man and stuff like that. And I'm like, damn, that's pretty cool. So, but yeah, man, I'm stepping up in the world.
Yeah, it's pretty. Love to see it. It's pretty cool to see.
Right. So, how have you been?
Good. Just busy. A lot of vacation stuff. So I'm trying to get settled.
Yeah.
There's other games on the horizon for you to play.
Yeah, it's been a wild couple of months, obviously, with Pokemon happening. I know you play Lorcana, right? I know you played Lorcana before.
Yeah. So I play tons of games. I play Lorcana, I play Snap, obviously. I play Pokemon, and then Rivals. Once that comes, I'll be playing that too.
Yeah, that's true. Are you in did you get in the creator program for Rivals?
Yes,
Nice.
I am, and
Nice.
it's pretty cool to
now,
be in there and be a part of that. It's interesting because I am in the Snap Creators program too, so it's weird. It's like two different dynamics because technically it's my second Creators program, but
nice.
Yeah, it's interesting to see.
And is that now when that releases? It's releasing in December. Is that coming to consoles at the same time, or is it just PC?
I believe it's consoles as well, so it'll be like on every platform. I'm trying to debate because if I'm going to make content or stream it, like if I should put it on my console and then like, I don't know, like try to stream it through my computer and do stuff like that, try to save resources, but I'm not sure. But everything's on Steam. I've been using my computer for the past like 2 years because of Snap. So it's like I've ditched my console completely.
Yeah, I honestly haven't touched my PS5. I have games sitting there for it that I bought. I work in Best Buy, so it's very easy to buy stuff. I'm always around that stuff. And I bought Silent Hill 2 because I never played the original version. So I thought, okay, I'll buy this updated. But I literally haven't touched it. It's sitting next to the console and I haven't touched it. But yeah, I may try Rivals. I'm not. It plays like Overwatch, right? It's kind of like Overwatch.
Yeah. Like, well, I think it's going to be interesting too because like the only reason I played Snap is because it's a Marvel property, and I think most like people that are playing Snap is because it's a Marvel property, and I think there's like another community that played Hearthstone and they're playing Snap because they used to play Hearthstone.
Yeah,
so I think just because of Rivals, a lot of people, it's another Marvel property, so they're just going to move on to another Marvel property because it's Marvel.
Yeah, you're probably right. And I mean, even back when Spider-Man 2, the one with Miles Morales and stuff came out, a lot of people went and played that right away. Now, the only thing with those is people can knock those out in like a week sometimes, depending.
When that game, I think Spider-Man 2 comes out on PC in January or February, I'm
Yeah.
gonna buy it right away and play it right away.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, you're right. I mean, it's you know, if you're fans of a certain genre, you're gonna follow stuff to that, no matter what it is. And yeah, I agree. I think it's that, you know, a lot of people are just gravitating towards other things, and I think it's cool. I mean, look, we're getting a rival season next month from Snap 2, which I think was smart, really. You know, it's another, like you were saying, it's a Marvel property. It's something that's coming out, and why not combine forces? And you're going to get interest from both sides at that point. Even if Snap wasn't getting gamers necessarily that were console gamers, you know, now with the crossover, they might. So that's probably a good thing for them.
Yeah, I think Marvel Rivals is going all in. I think they're collabing with like Fortnite as well, and almost every Marvel game there is.
Yeah.
So they're going all out.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Now you were in the beta, I assume, right?
Yes, I was in the alpha and the beta.
Okay. How did it play? Was it play pretty good?
I thought the game was finished. Like
nice. Wow. Okay.
From the start.
Yeah.
Like I figured the game was going to come out soon, just the way it played in general, and luckily it is.
Cool. That's awesome, man. What's the release date? What is it, like December 5th or something like this?
Yes, it's December 5th. I think it was like 8th or something, but for someone like it got bumped up. So
okay, yeah, that's going to be good. Look, I say this all the time. It's, you know, for me, it's a little different because this certainly isn't my full-time job. I do other things and stuff like that. But you know, people like yourself and, you know, larger creators, you know, I know there have been people that have come to me just and said, oh, you know, all these other people are leaving. It's not that you're leaving. It's that when you do this kind of thing, you always have to go to things that are, you know, new and try things out. Now they may not work out sometimes, but you have to do it. It's good for the channel. It's something that keeps the channel going. And I don't know that people necessarily understand that from behind. I learned a little bit of that doing the other podcasts that I do. You know, you kind of have to, if there's a new thing that comes out, you sometimes have to go on to that because that's what everybody's going to gravitate to. It just is what it is. People are just going to go. They're going to try it out. They're going to play it. Are they going to stay playing it? That remains to be seen. But when you're doing channels and stuff like this, you kind of have to go with what's popular sometimes.
Right. I feel like with the larger creators too, like it's their livelihood.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
If Snap isn't where it needs to be as far as making them revenue, they're gonna jump on to whatever might make them revenue. And then if you look at some of these creators too that played other games before, like they knew how to make content and they hopped on to Snap, and then they were able to maximize or like better themselves or blow up even more by switching to another game. So I think others see that blueprint and they're taking the same steps. Because like for instance, Jeff Hoagland played like Magic. He went from Magic to Snap and became one of the faces of Snap. So it's pretty interesting to see. And then everyone's gonna try to do that and see where it goes. And then Pokemon, for instance, Pokemon is a big IP.
It is.
Like it's bigger. I think it could be bigger than Marvel, or is bigger than Marvel. It's played all over the world.
Yeah,
like it's insane. So I think just taking that IP, doing that, there's so many. I think the problem is with Snap right now is Snap had no competition for the longest time.
Yeah.
So now we have options. Like we're gonna have rivals. Some are playing the Bazaar because they were playing like Hearthstone and stuff like that.
Yep.
And of course we have Pokemon. So there's so much like diversity in games where they're so similar, where you could take that audience and just have them come along with you. And it's like Snap's at its worst point, or we would say it's at its worst point. But hopefully like they see the competition and try to like combat it a little bit.
Yeah, that's the one thing I took from my wrestling show is that, you know, a lot of times when there's no competition is when it gets stale. Because for years, like, you know, using that example, WWE for years was the only thing out there. And then all of a sudden they, you know, a couple new companies come along and things like that. And maybe they're not coming close to them in the ratings and stuff, but they took people away. And I always think that that's usually good for something, because a lot of times, like you said, these companies will realize, like, hey, there's something else going on out there. We got to kind of step up our game a little bit. We got to make things a little bit better. And so yeah, no, I agree, and I hope, hopefully that does that. I hope that and we'll talk about that in a bit. Hopefully that will make things, that make them a little more urgent. What do you think of? Because I had never ever played Pokemon in my life. I think I had a grudge against it because it ruined my Magic days.
Oh wow.
When I used to play Magic, and again, this was no fault of the shop owner. He was just trying to be proactive because he started to see more younger kids coming into the store, and they were buying Pokemon cards when they would come out, or when they came out. And then this was in the 90s. This was in the early days of Magic. So, and he started to get more and more of these kids coming in. And like that, when we spoke about creators, you have to do what's going to make your shop money. So he would start having Pokemon tournaments, and then eventually the Magic stuff got phased out because he just wasn't getting enough people coming in playing Magic anymore. So it kind of sucked. But I had never played the game. So I went into it completely. I had never played a single game of Pokemon ever. So I installed the app and I got into it, and I'm playing a little bit, and I'm like, either I'm just really, really not understanding any of this, or this is just like I get in, they have the coin flip as to who goes first, and I'm like, usually it's an advantage to go first in a card game. It didn't seem like there was much of an advantage to going first in this, and I'm like. So I ended up telling somebody, I'm like, I'm a newbie to this. I have never literally played this game. And it was funny. Ironically, like my first pack that I got the super rare Charizard, the one that's like the
immersive.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Literally my first pack I opened, and I put it up on my Twitter, and I'm like, is this good? And they're like, yeah, dude, that's one of the rarest cards in the game. Yeah. And I'm like, okay. I was like, and then somebody responded to me when I talked to them about being a newbie to the game, and they're like, well, they didn't make this for new players. And I'm like, that doesn't really seem conducive to success if they didn't make it for anybody who's not a player of the game to begin with. But yeah, what are your experiences with it? I mean, have you played Pokemon before? I'm assuming, right?
Yeah, okay. I think I was in middle school when Pokemon first came out, so that was like 90. It was like 96 or something.
Yeah,
so
that had to be. Yep, that sounds right.
So like I was, I don't know, like brought into it in its inception. So I played Pokemon Red, Blue.
Yeah,
I played the card game for a minute too, but I think as I got into like high school, I thought I was like Kitty. So that's when I went into Magic. Yeah. So I played like a few sets of Magic, but it was high school. I ended up playing like sports and all that. I was too busy for card games, and I think like once I graduated, I started again. I think that's when they started like splitting cards.
Yeah,
I think it was an Invasion when they had like 2 cards in one. So I think I played that set, and then after that, I was done with Magic for the most part, because that's when I like joined the Air Force. But yeah, I think Pokemon, I don't know, I think it has like the nostalgic thing to it as well. Like especially starting out with like original 151 for the most part. Like everyone from my age when they started until like kids now should know these Pokemon. Yeah. So I think that it's a little bit of that, because remember, I don't know if you played Pokemon Go or not.
I did a little bit. Well, that's the one where you walked around and tried to find them on the
Now we figured out they basically took all of our information to make a AI map out of it. But yeah, like I think it's just that nostalgic feel and then something new for everyone. But I thought there was already like a Pokemon TCG online already, which I thought was funny. I was like, all right, so that game's dead now because they made this one.
Yeah, that's right. I did hear that people were saying that, and again, that's like you had said. People. This is things that people grew up with. I was a Magic player like yourself. I was playing Magic online for a while, and stuff like that. So you kind of gravitate towards that. And I've told people on this show, I've said, listen, I'm a big Star Wars fan. If they ever came out with a Star Wars card game that's any good, I know.
But it's tough. It's tough.
That's what everybody says. Like, I don't know why. Like those games they make, they're always difficult to play. I don't get it. Like, I played the old Decipher one, and that was so ungodly hard to play. And I still have cards from it. I literally found my binder of cards down in the basement from the game, and I'm like, And it was the thing, like, make an easier one to play. You know what I mean? Like but that's another huge IP. And I've loved that since I was a kid. If they ever made something like that digitally that actually worked and it wasn't hard to play, I would probably play that too. But yeah, that's what it is.
I think I hear that like the Star Wars game is like tough to play and it's expensive to play. So it's like the combination of both. It's like,
yeah, I ended up buying like a pack of them just because I saw them out when I was going around. I was in a comic store that had them, and I bought a pack of them. And the artwork is very comic booky. It looks like, here, I think I have it right here actually. Hold on. This is, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but that's, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, it's very comic book looking. The artwork for it. But I knew a few people who played in the when they had because they were giving away starter decks and stuff, like some of the card shops, and to have people come in and play the event. And so a lot of people went and they got some free stuff and things like that. But from what I understand, yeah, they were saying it is very expensive. The rares are very hard to get. Like, you can buy a box,
commanders or whatever. Like, I was like, all right, that's too much for me. I'll stick with Lorcana.
Yeah, I said, I thought the same thing. I
thought I was gonna dabble back into Magic when they had like the secret layer stuff where you could buy like the Captain America Wolverine Storm online, but the lines for that was ridiculous. There's like some people waiting 4 hours to get these cards.
Yeah,
and then like you couldn't even get the card.
I bought one of those. I saw one come out for Walking Dead years ago, and I was a big I like Walking Dead, so I bought that one. But it was like, it's still sitting in the box. I looked at them a few times, and I never actually played any of them. So I'm like, yeah, I wish, I miss the olden days. I miss the days of us going and playing in Magic tournaments and stuff. Face-to-face stuff with card games is very, very fun. And a lot of people that are playing, stuff like this, obviously the digital card games don't get to experience that, which I think kind of sucks.
Right. That's why I play Lorcana for the physical. Like, it's awesome to go to like tournaments or set tournaments, and you meet people from all over the area.
Yep.
Like, they even have like game nights where, there's no like comic book or card store. There's a comic book shop next to me, but they don't sell Lorcana. But there's like the nearest card shop is maybe like 30 minutes away that actually has these tournaments. So it's like hard to do that on a weekly basis, but I'll do it for set championships.
Yep.
But it's cool, like meeting those people and hanging out. You can even trade cards.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I would go to, we had a little shop we would go to every week, and that was the same thing. Like, once the tournament ended, there was always a tournament to play, but once the tournament was over, or you lose or you don't get to the finals or whatever, then that's what we do. We'd have our binders and we'd like, hey, what do you have? And we'd be looking through everybody's binders and trading with people the entire rest of the time. But that's the thing. The digital card games, when you don't have that face-to-face with people, and that's why I know, like, you went to SnapCon, right? But I'm not, did you go to this year's?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in Tampa, so so it's down the street for me.
Yeah, so you've been at both of them then, right? There've been two. Yeah. See, that kind of thing is great for the game. And I don't know, that's something that I think that Second Dinner should get behind, because it's important. Like you were saying, to get to meet people face to face, and yes, that one is a lot of creators. Like, the creators go to those and stuff like that. But for people to not have that experience, I think people are missing out on that, because when you don't have that face to face experience about playing other players and stuff like that, it's not the same. And believe me, I'm thrilled that Felicity does it. I want to go. I really wanted to go last year. I had bariatric surgery, so I couldn't go because I had it right like a little bit before then. But I definitely want to go next year if they have it again, because it would be great to put faces to, now I see people online like yourself, but I don't ever get to meet people face to face, but it'd be great to go.
But definitely an awesome experience. I think that's what helped me like the first year. That's what helped me make the connections I needed to make, because I think I was like in my own little silo and I didn't know anything.
Yep.
And I probably would have been in my own little silo the whole time, like if I had never met the people that I met at SnapCon. So it's definitely a good networking experience where you could like see more than what you normally see.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a flight to Tampa and head down there at some point. It's funny because I know there's at least 3-4 people I know that live not that far from there, so I could probably even end up like staying with people.
Yeah, like this is like the wrestlers' capital.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, there are a lot of wrestlers that live in that
Yeah, we run
area.
into Batista and John
Yep.
Cena all the time. So
Yeah, there are a lot of people down there, but yeah, no, I think it's a thing that I don't know if Second Dinner would ever get behind it, but if that's something that they were thinking about, that
I think
broadening.
they were actually there for SnapCon. So I got
Oh,
to
okay.
talk to Veritas while he was there.
Oh, nice.
And anytime like a group of creators gets together, like they want to be there.
Yeah, and it's I mean, it's smart. You want to see what's going on there. You want to see if there's interest in that, and then they can always get behind it because God knows when I had Felicity on the show like about a month or so before it, and I told her, God bless, like she literally like funds this stuff for the most part and puts up like a lot. I'm like, man, I remember when I was doing like DJing weddings and shit like that, just putting stuff like that together is hard. Let alone putting together an event like that. So yeah, but who knows? Maybe it might be something down the line they might look into, and that's it's good PR for them. It really is. So all right, well, let's get into some Snap stuff here, and let me see. I want to talk about yesterday's news first, because obviously we had a let's see if I got this here. I know I have the slide somewhere. There we go. We had a series drop. So, and as like so much news that comes out, when I first saw this, I was working, so it was hard for me to kind of pay full attention to it. I kind of glanced at it. I'm like, I looked at the cards and I'm like, okay, Fastos is pretty good. Grandmaster is being used a lot. Pixie's kind of X23 is great for destroy. Sasquatch, you see a decent amount. Valentina has been in a lot more decks lately, and Iron Lad used to be awesome. And then I see, well, Kitty, I glanced at
a free card for most of us.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, this actually doesn't look too bad. And then, man, oh man, I put out a post because, again, I didn't look to see the Series 4 to Series 3 part of it. I glanced at it quick. I put a post out and I got slaughtered. Like, everybody's like, this is garbage. This thing's crap. This sucks. And I'm like, holy man. Like, so I looked at it again and I backed off and I'm like, all right, okay. I see the Series 4 to Series 3 cards. There's only 3. So that's why everybody's pissed. Everything else is going to 4. And yes, there are some cards there that aren't great. You have Super Giant, you have Beta Ray Bill, that aren't spectacular. But I mean, what's your opinion on this? Like, what do you think of this? I know Super Tech God actually too put out a post last night. He said, keep it positive, guys, which now I'm thinking I probably should have done this well.
Disclaimer before you put out your tweet.
Yes. Yeah. Put out a disclaimer. Be like, positive thoughts only, please. And if not, then don't bother. Don't get yourself angry about it. But yeah. So what did you think about this? And then if this is something that you don't think is ideal, like what is something that you think they need to kind of do to kind of settle all the angry mobs and masses that are out there?
So I think this is lackluster for the most part. Like, you're giving us a bunch of cards, or technically I have all these already, but you're giving like those who want to win game like cards that aren't winnable. Valentina has popped up because of anti-venom and the synergies that go with anti-venom.
Yep.
Like Fastos is a card that's decent because people are playing like Airsham with Thanos now, so Fastos is a cool card to put in there.
He's in Surfer a lot too,
Yeah, he's in Surfer. And then Beta Ray Bill. You just have King Eitri, so Beta Ray Bill. X23 is solid. And then Super Giant is very, very niche.
It is.
But the problem is with the game is that like we have 4 to 5 cards come out every month that are Series 5 for the most part. If it's Series 4, they're free. They're behind the game mode, like High Voltage or Deadpools Diner. And the problem is, if you're a new player, this is overwhelming. Like, all these cards coming at you at once, and then you can't add so many cards to Series 3 because it'll take you forever to get out of Series 3.
That's true.
So the problem is they have to figure out a way for newer players to catch up, or a new way to like open packs or something where you could get multiple cards or variants and basically feel satisfied, because I think as the game progresses and you go into like year 3 or 4, there's going to be tons of cards,
Yeah.
and there's no way for a new player to be competitive. It's just going to feel bad. I think even like Dragon Snap's like video, I don't know if you saw it or not, but like newer players, they're only playing for like a day or two and not coming back, because I
Yeah.
feel like they're overwhelmed. They feel like they can't compete. And then even as a content creator too, like I could have the newest deck or newest cards, but I'm even realizing the decks that I'm making, more than like 75% of the deck is new cards where a newer player can't even play. And then me making content, I can't even make a pool 1 through 3 deck on my channel and have gameplay, because it's not competitive. I can't keep up with the meta I'm in. So it's definitely a tough spot to be in.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw I actually talked about it on my pod last week. Laser had one on his channel for that was a Series 3 deck except for X23. It was a Destroyer deck that he had on there. That was all cards except for X23 so it's actually technically a Series 3 deck. But yeah, look, it's like you're right. I mean, it is overwhelming. And I did see Dragon's video. Was that the one that he gave all the statistics and stuff about all the? Yeah. I did see that. So something. I mean, I've been saying this, I think, since the first time I had you on the show. One of the things I talk about all the time with creators is how would you fix this problem with the newer players? And like you said, if you can't take like one stream and do a deck that's going to be for newer players to watch, then newer players are going to stop watching anybody's shows. And that's 100%, because if they don't feel like they look at this, they see a list and they're like, I can't get any of these cards, then that's a problem. And so, yeah, and I mean, the drops to Series 3, the only one there that gets any play really too is Kitty Pryde. Yeah. And it's like, what are you going to do with Kitty Pryde? Because you kind of need Thena with Kitty Pryde decks, and you kind of need a bunch of other cards that they don't have access to. So yeah, I could see it being an issue. I mean, like, for sure, it's been talked about many, many, many times. And I think someone from there, was it Griffin? Griffin, I think, responded yesterday and came out and said that something's going to happen in January, that they're looking to January as something coming. I think I shared it on my Twitter yesterday, but that's not going to subside the masses, because all they're going to say is you're just putting it off. You just keep saying it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming, and then January comes and it doesn't come. So,
or even technically the Marvel Rivals collab, Snap hasn't even confirmed it.
Yeah, really?
And they won't confirm it until what, Friday or Saturday
when the developer video comes out.
Yeah, so it's like, I think there's that disconnect where they think that they could just hide everything from us and then give it to us last minute. But you have like data mines and all this stuff where we get this information like beforehand. And I think as Second Dinner Marvel Snap progresses, I think the more that they give us, the more that it will hype us up for the game in the future. And that's what all these other games are doing.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. They have to figure out something with that. Someone was even saying, it might have been Cam Best, I don't remember. Someone was saying something too, like the pack thing in Pokemon is amazing. I agree with that 100%. I that's one of the reasons, like, me as a new player, as I mentioned before, I just enjoyed going in open packs. I mean, and you'd agree with that. You've played Magic, and there's that, you have that nostalgia about that when you get to go in open packs. Maybe Snap needs to look into something like that, where you can start pulling some of these older series cards that they don't have, from a pack, and now you have chances to maybe even get a newer card or a card that you just don't have because you're opening packs. And I don't know, I think that might go a long way towards them in changing the game up a little bit.
Yeah, because it feels like the opposite direction, like charging us double the gold, 2,400 gold or for a spotlight variant.
Yeah.
And then having like the collector's vault where like they're trying to make money off of FOMO. Yeah. It seems like they're going on the opposite end.
Yeah.
Where they want the revenue more than anything.
Yeah, and gold is so hard to come by now. Like I said that. I think the last decent gold bundle was the Galactus, the nullified Galactus one that gave you like 6 or 7. It gave you a lot of gold. Now they're cutting the gold. The gold's like down to 700, it's 600 sometimes now in some of these bundles that they used to give you 1,000. So, and then I read somewhere, and this made no sense to me. There was like someone that was saying there's too much gold in the game. What? What do you mean?
And I think like collectors tokens too. I think if everything's Series 5, then they should be able to give us more collectors tokens somehow, some way in this game.
That's probably what leads to so many people now that are saying, well, this game's dying. You know, they're just trying to milk all the money that they can out of you, you know, with all this kind of stuff. I don't know that I necessarily believe that for you know, that it's dying. And I've seen games die. I think I told you when I first talked to you on the first time we met, there was a Marvel game way back in the day that I played that was a money grab, and that's all it was. And the game died within less than a year. So Marvel Battle Lines, I think it was called, or something like that. It was a fancy game of tic-tac-toe that you played with Marvel cards. But you know, and that game was an out-and-out money grab. I don't know that I would be privy to say that this game is dying. I think that, and you know, watching his video and stuff like that, he was saying that he even said that Dragon said that it you know, as of right now, it doesn't look like it's dying. There's things that are going wrong. There's things that aren't looking that great. But I don't necessarily think it's dying. That said, though, and I get your thoughts on this, I think that there's urgency now. I think they need to do some things. And yes, okay, character mastery we have coming. That's going to be fun. But that's basically cosmetics and stuff that you're just getting for having a lot of cards. But I think that something needs to be done with the collection. Something needs to be done with game modes. And sometime soon. And I'll get into Deadpool's Diner with you too, because oh my God, Deadpool's Diner is another mess. But yeah, like, you know, so do you share that opinion? I mean, what are your thoughts on when people come to you and say, like, I'm sure you've got people in your streams or people that are talking to you on Twitter saying, this game's done. This game's over. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I don't think it's done. I just think there's like a bunch of competition right now. Some of the metas were horrible. Like even now with like Airsham, it just feels bad.
God. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Yeah, we're gonna get.
So it's like the metas that we had, like even Loki, last year, that meta was horrible too.
Yeah.
I just think like once they fix the metas, they fix card acquisition. I think when they brought in spotlight keys, it hurt it a little bit because it felt like you're just going down the collection track and then hopefully you hit on something. I think once they fix that, I think the game will be fine. It's just that like if you look on Twitter, everyone's complaining, and if you look on Twitch, the numbers for the Snap category have been horrendous. So I think that's what people look at for the most part when only 300 people are watching Snap in the one category, unless like one of the bigger creators are on. If Jeff, Dara, or like Dexter are on, or TM are on, like of course people turn on for them. I feel like once those bigger creators, or if they find someone else to fill in those roles, the game will be fine. Yeah,
I agree. And it is. I was just saying this about the other to someone that was talking to me about the meta the other day, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm not, because everybody's saying that the meta is very diverse, but then I'm looking at it and I'm like, the top 2 decks in the meta right now are probably decks that I cannot stand the most in bounce and move. I'm like, so that's probably why I'm not enjoying the meta very much, because I don't play.
It was like a bunch of Surtur. Like I tried to make an anti-Surtur video, but I already reached infinite, and then as soon as I like reached infinite, everyone was playing move. And I was like, crap. Like, of course, that's what Sizer's playing. He's the #1 player, so everyone's playing move after Infinite. I'm like, crap. And then, like, Deadpool's Diner, like, everyone's playing Airsham. And then someone made, like, an Airsham Thanos deck, and I'm like, come on. Like, why?
We got to talk about the Diner. Yeah, this is Diner, too. And, oh, my God. Like, when the first comments I made about this when it came out is I'm like, I'm just hoping, okay, the card that they stuck in here, that King Eitri card, it's like you looked at it and you're like, this fits in maybe one deck. Well, but
two or three.
RSM,
Yeah.
and Thor. And Thor's decks. And yeah, but and then you're looking at it's like nowhere near what Cassandra Nova was, because at that point in time, Cassandra Nova was a counter card to Arshem. So everybody wanted it. And it became a sweaty thing where everybody's in there just playing like they're playing Infinite Ladder because they just wanted that damn card. So when I looked at King Eitri, I'm like, okay, this looks like it won't be so bad. Dear God. When I got in there and started playing, I'm like, this is worse than the first one. Like everybody's playing Arshem decks. People are back to playing Clog, which I haven't seen in a while. Nobody was playing Clog. I get in here and all I'm seeing is Arshem Clog. I'm seeing some toxic deck stuff in there. But I'm like, dude, this is worse. Like, how could you possibly go in there and make this worse? There were only bots on the first level. So there's no bots beyond the very first level that you saw. So I'm like, this is bad. And I'm going through it and I'm thinking to myself, this is awful for a card that who cares if you would even get? Like nobody, it's nobody's going to care whether you have this card or not. And you're probably not going to see it used very much. It's for all intents and purposes, it reminded me of Agony, and Agony fits in basically one deck. It's in Destroy if it gets played. So, but yeah, and then of course you see these things in between, and I think this just infuriated people even more when they saw these little notes. And I'm like, oh my God,
they know.
What are you doing, dude? Like I was like, Regis made this deck, which I thought was hilarious. He took the list of this and made a video for it and tried to actually play it, and it sucked. But yeah, when you look at this and you're seeing this, you're seeing these little things. This one. Opponent totally cheated with an Arshem there. And I'm like, oh my God, $99 bundle. Seriously. I'm like, dude. And,
they know.
And then
they're self-aware like Deadpool.
Yeah. This, I mean, it is Deadpool, and that's what it is. But like, holy, but yeah. What did you do? Did you get the card? I mean, I got the card and I stopped. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going any further.
I got the card, but it's like a bad feeling too with the Jane Foster variant. And then if you play Conquest, you get another Jane Foster variant?
2 Jane Fosters. Like, yeah.
Like, what? Like, we couldn't even get a King Eitri variant like we did with Cassandra?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, come on. Like, I don't know. It just feels like the game mode, I think, is pretty cool, but like, the cosmetics in the game mode just feels bad. And then I really liked High Voltage. Like, you didn't have to snap.
High Voltage. Yes.
You didn't have to worry about snapping. You weren't losing anything when you lost. Like, you could just play the game. It was perfectly fine. But this just feels like a grind. Like, I came back from vacation and I'm like, really? Like, ugh.
Yeah. Yeah. This was awful. Yeah, I agree.
And then after I got Eitri, like I just want to stop. I don't even want to go anymore.
No, I was the same way. I got to the card. I'm like, yep, I'm done. And look, the rewards were better. I mean, they give you a whole bunch of the higher end borders and stuff like that if that's something that you care about. Which I mean, borders are okay. I don't get all hyped up for borders, but the rewards were all except the Jane Foster card. I thought I couldn't believe that when I looked at it. I'm like, wait a minute, I just got one in Conquest. What do I need another one of these for? And I don't play the card a lot to begin with. I'm not a negative player, so I don't use her very much. But like, and grinding through this, and I just could not believe. I couldn't believe all the Arshem decks. Finally, I think I saw a deck posted that might have been Kaya might have posted it too. It's called, I think, calls it Goon Knight, but it's the one that has the Arshem counters in it because Cassandra's in it and Darkhawk's in it. So they're your Arshem counters. But yeah, I could not believe how much Arshem is out there. And I thought for sure people were stopping to play, and they were. Like, it wasn't in the meta that much. And then all of a sudden for this, whoop, out come the Arshem decks. And I'm like, good Lord, man. Like, what are you doing? What is, and I'll get your opinion on this. What is something you would do with Arshem? Like, I'm at the point where I was like, they added random cards last time. I didn't think they added enough. I thought they should add maybe 6 more random cards. But if you could rework Arshem, what would you do with it? Like, I'm at the point where I'm saying, you know what? Make the whole entire deck random. Don't let them have a deck. Make the whole, if you're going to play this, you're getting all random cards. You're going to get the energy cheats, but you're getting all random cards, and that's how it's going to be.
Yeah, I think that's how it should work. I think Arshem should be like maybe like a 7. I don't know, like maybe a 715 or something.
Okay,
Like
yeah.
boost his power and then just give them random cards.
Yep. Yeah, I agree, because it is too, when you're building and then all of a sudden I'm starting to see people playing Arishem Thanos, and that ended up being one of the meta decks, and I'm like, are you
Yeah.
kidding me? This deck has 34 cards, like, and this is a meta deck, and people are winning with it, and I'm like, that's not good for the game. Like,
No,
if you're
no. Like I was playing, I think I posted one on Twitter, like a Thanos death deck or Thanos destroy deck, and then like
yeah,
all of a sudden, like the next day there was like a Thanos Airsham deck, and I was like, wow, like
yep,
really? Like the two, like, well, Thanos isn't that bad, but you're gonna combine it with Airsham? Like that was the worst thing to do like a few months ago because there's so many Darkhawk and Cassandra
yeah.
Nova decks.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I agree. Arishem, and look, and this is another thing people have saying for months. They've been saying Arishem's a problem. And this is something else that your second dinner, you have to consider this. And I think that, like, red flags, it's not the number one deck in the meta, but I think it should be a red flag if you see an Arishem Thanos deck pop up as, like, even if it's in the top 10, I think that's a red flag. Because you're just telling people I can play with a big jumbled mess of cards, as long as I'm getting energy cheats every single turn, I'm gonna actually be able to win. And
you could play Thanos on like 4.
Yeah, and so and right there you get all your stones out. You have a 20-point Thanos that's sitting in that lane. So I don't know, man. Like it's like that's something that, and I know they're on vacation. They did this stuff early. The OTAs and stuff came out early, so there wasn't going to be any changes like that. There's nothing coming in changes of anything until December. So this is the time of the year where they're not going to be getting patches out and stuff like that as much. But this is something that I think that they have to address. RSM is an issue for sure. And I
they were talking about no more big bads, but this is definitely a big bad.
It literally is. I mean, and it's funny because they've mentioned many times before where they don't like to have things that give like unfair advantages. They don't like card draw. Obviously with poor Adam Warlock still suffering out there that he'll never see play. And they had said earlier too, before Arishem came out, that they don't necessarily like energy cheats that much either. Well, this is the ultimate energy cheat card. And if you're cheating energy and you're getting cards down, playing a 2-cost on turn 1 and so on and so forth, and going up and up and up, you're always going to have the advantage. And plus,
you're one step ahead, especially if you play Loki. Like that Loki change too. The fact that you can play Loki on turn 1 is like ridiculous.
Yep. Yeah. So now not only are you getting an advantage, but now you're playing your opponent's cards faster than they're going to be able to play them. And it's just, I don't know. I'm surprised it survived as long as it has the way it was. And obviously adding extra amounts of cards to it just isn't going to matter because they're playing with 30 some cards and it doesn't matter. So.
Right. And then who knows, like they might have 2 Shangs. They might have a Shang in their deck and then get one from Airsham. So like even if you play Darkhawk, Cassandra, like they might even have like 2 Shadow Kings out of nowhere. Like you never know what they have. Like that's the bad thing about it. Like it's unpredictable. Like you never know what's going to happen.
Yep. And they're playing with Enchantress now too. A lot of the decks have Enchantress. So now they can have a Shang for the Cassandra. They can enchant the Darkhawk and there you go. That's they're going to win the game. So I agree. That it's another sticking point. I know, again, you look out on the Twitterverse and it's a lot of people that are talking about it. They're like, oh my God, it's nothing but Arishem. And then, people are saying too, that why did you not put bots in the higher levels? And you only have them at the very low table. And supposedly, I think they may have fixed that. I don't know. I didn't play enough of it after I quit to know. But this is things like this. When basically you're playing for a free card, this shouldn't happen. You shouldn't have this much stress about just trying to get a free card. And that's why, like you were saying earlier, I loved High Voltage. I thought that was done brilliantly. Now, yes, were people playing sweaty decks? They were, but it didn't matter. Like if you lost, who cares? You weren't losing anything. If you
didn't have to snap. Like I didn't really have to I don't know if I could have just put my phone down for the most part.
Yeah.
Like it was fine.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I love that mode. I absolutely, that there was no stress to it whatsoever. Even if you went in every day and did your daily missions, you were going to get the card. That's
Mhm.
that's basically
And it
how
was perfect for alliances too.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you can do your missions. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I don't know, man. I said this after I played this. I'm like, I don't even know if this should just get scrapped at this point because I don't know how they can make it better. And I don't know. It's just it's such a you talk about feels bads. If you get into one of the higher stakes tables and then you lose, well, there you go. You're done. You're done until your stuff builds back up again. So you're not playing anything for what, 8 hours or however long that takes for them to do that. So I don't know.
Or you have to pay gold.
Or you have to buy it, right? Yeah, either or. So I don't know. I get it. It was something that they did for the Deadpool Wolverine movie and stuff like that. But to me, it's like this is a second chance now, and they had said, "Oh, it's going to be a new and improved Deadpool's." It's not. It's
No,
not
it's
improved
the
at
same
all.
thing. It's just got new skin.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So I don't know. I don't know that I necessarily want to see this again. I mean, there's a lot of Marvel properties coming out next year. Maybe they'll stick to the smaller ones, like the high voltage kind of things, and make other stuff and things like that. And this will get forgotten because this is not a good way to give people cards, I don't think. So
Yeah, no,
but
not at all.
yeah. But anyway, so that's the diner.
Yeah.
All right, so here, let's go on to let me see if I got something a little more positive. Oh, here's the series drops thing. This is series drops will arrive December 10th. Check them out below. Yeah. And there's okay. So I let's talk about some decks really quickly here. I have now these are some of the meta decks that some of the people are playing. So are you a bounce guy? I have never been a bounce guy. Don't like the genre.
Not really.
I'm not good at it. I completely suck at this. There's two decks I suck at. That bounce and move are two of the decks I suck at. And now there's a bounce move deck, which is yeah. But yeah, so this deck to me, like when this was popular last time, it was so hard to deal with. You people were playing Invisible Woman Killmonger because of bounce.
Yep.
Because there's no other way to deal with it. This to me is now you have Toxin in there. You have him, other ways to bounce back your cards. You have Black Swan to glut out everything on turn 6. You have cards in here like Sage that can just get huge. Silver Sable that can just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't know, man. Like this, it rose. I saw it coming. I'm like, when I saw Toxin come out, I'm like, yep, this deck's coming back. People are playing a little bit already. But yeah, what are your thoughts on bounce? And are you finding it when you play difficult to counter like it was last time, or do you think it's not as bad as it was?
I don't think it's as bad. Like I play toxic stuff, so
Yeah.
I have like Man Thing, I have like Hazmat, I
Yeah, me
have
too.
like Red Guardian.
Yeah.
So like sometimes my decks are just basically like a straight up counter. Like my Man Thing in one location will just like ruin this
Yeah,
deck.
that's true. Yeah.
Or like you play like Red Guardian on their Bishop or their Black Swan, like it's over for them.
Yeah.
So I don't find it that bad. Honestly, I don't see this deck that much. I actually see
Okay.
like the Goons deck a lot now.
Okay.
It seems like that's been popular, and bounce is
Yeah.
like sort of gone to the wayside.
Yeah. Yeah, it's yeah, I mean, I don't see it as much in the meta either. But I think it was listed as one of the top decks.
Yeah.
So yeah. But yeah, I play that deck. Do you have Ajax in that deck that you were talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, I play that one too. Yeah, I play that one too. That's a pretty good counter. There was somebody had a version of it that had a Scorpion in it too because of Surtur. That instantly counters Surtur.
And then Cassandra Nova too. Counter Surtur decks too.
Yeah. I was playing Cassandra in that other deck with the Darkhawk, and whenever if I'd Cassandra Nova, person that was playing Surtur would just quit. They're like, yeah, I'm out. So, well, that's bounce. If you like it, it's the Hood, Silver Sable, Rocket Raccoon, Nico, Toxin, Black Swan, Falcon, Agent Venom, Sage, Bishop, Hit Monkey, and Beast. For those of you who are listening on audio. Discard. So I have been getting wiped out by this deck lately.
Oh yeah.
This has been really, really good. Like when they got Scorn added to this, holy, Like this has been an awesome deck. And like you were saying about Red Guardian came back, I think, strictly for this, because if you don't get rid of their Dracula somehow, you lose. You're losing the game. More than likely, you're losing. This just works incredibly well, and it's not really that different of a list than it was before, except for the Scorn card. I'm telling you, man, I'm like, all right, I'm going to do if I can't beat him, join him thing. So I'm just going to make up this deck and play it. I can never, ever get curved when I play this deck.
Oh,
I
wow.
never get Blade, ever. I get him later in the game. I never get the Mobius won't show up until later. I never, ever get cards on curve. I'll get my Dracula last turn. I never get any. Yeah, terrible luck with this deck. I don't know why. But what do you think of this card now? Have you played it at all? Like, what do you think of this?
Yeah, I think this is very solid. When I was playing Deadpools Diner, I saw Discard and I saw Airsham. And I was like, why is everyone playing Discard?
Mm-hmm.
But Discard's been pretty good. I was playing a like weird Discard deck not too long ago, where like you just, well, it's not a discard deck, but you just basically dump all of your cards and then Dracula hits something big in your hand. And it even has Strong Guy 2 has been popping up in Discard too.
Yeah.
Since he only needs like one card to be in your hand, which is pretty good. So you take Swarm out and you put Strong Guy in, and that's pretty strong. Overall, like Discard has been pretty good, especially with Scorn too.
Yeah,
like that's what put it over the top. You don't need like Meek anymore. Like Meek is gone, like pretty much in the trash can. I don't know what series that is. Is that, it has to be a 4?
Meek series 4, I think.
Yeah, like he should be like series 3 at this point. But yeah, with Scorn, it just puts this deck over the top.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, this is it's been really good. And I mean, I never minded Discard. I played it a little bit before Scorn came out and stuff like that. It's always a fun thing to go back to sometimes. But this gets really, really big power. It really does.
And then even with like Proxima, there's no Proxima on this one, but Proxima 2 has tons of value.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is just a good deck. It's Scorn, Blade, Morbius, Collector, Swarm, Calling Ring. Calling Wing, Gambit, Corvus, Lady Sif, Dracula, MODOK, and Apocalypse. Yeah, you were talking about the Strong Guy. Yeah, there's also, what also is going around again is Dracula Dump with Strong Guy, where you're just getting rid of your entire hand. And
you have like Black Swan, and then like you just dump your whole hand final turn, and then Dracula hits the APOC, or it hits like a Infinite, and you just win.
Yep.
And I would say too, like Proxima might be good in this deck, especially if a lot of Moon Knights going on too. That way it doesn't hit your Dracula, or it could be like 50-50.
Yeah, that deck that I was playing has Moon Knight in it, actually, strictly for Proxima. She's the only even card, I think, in the deck that you can hit. So I think I have it here somewhere. All right, that's this card. This one. I'm surprised that this has lasted as long as it has, but this deck is still good. It's a mid-range deck, and it's a Scream deck. It's a mid-range deck, but it's actually a really good deck. It does really well. This one: Silver Sable, Kingpin, Craven, Scream, Juggernaut, Polaris, Spider-Man, Miles, Stegoron, Cannonball, Arrow, and Magneto. I see this, and many times I think, I'm just going to go over top of this stupid thing, and they're not going to be able to win. And then I get beat, and it's like they just, if they get their cards out, and that's the key. And really the key to this is they need to have Scream out. You need to have Scream out. Now, if you have something like a Luke Cage, which people are starting to play more and more now because of the toxic decks that were out there, if you have Luke Cage in your deck, that's going to hurt this a lot. They're still going to get the bonuses and stuff from Kingpin and Craven, but you're going to hurt it a lot by not giving you're not losing power on your cards and stuff like that to Scream. But yeah, what's your experience with this one?
Yeah, I love this deck. Like even with the Luke Cage, you can manipulate the board so much, especially like Juggernaut, Polaris, like Stegron, Cannonball, Arrow, Magneto. Like you just stop them from whatever they're trying to do, especially if they're trying to set up combos. If you see the Wong out or something, like you could just disrupt whatever they have going on. And it's fun to play. It gets boring after a while, but it is pretty fun to play. Like Arrow, seeing Arrow actually get her time to shine again is
Yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah, it is neat. I mean, yeah, I haven't played Arrow in forever. Ever since the good old days when she was moving all the cards out of the lane into
Yeah.
the Galactus
Even
stopper.
Stegron too. Like Stegron's
Yes.
a card that didn't get that much play too.
Yeah.
And then he gets
Yeah.
play in this deck.
Yeah, very true. The only card in this I've seen people vary with sometimes is they don't play Miles. Sometimes they'll take Miles out and there'd be other cards in the deck instead of Miles. But yeah, this is really a good deck, and it's up there as far as one of the top decks still at last. But yeah, you're right. You're just basically disrupting everything they do. Whether it be, saving the Juggernaut for the last turn and knowing that you're going to win that last turn lane with Juggernaut, or like you said, the Arrow, the Magneto last turn, just moving stuff around. You're just pulling stuff from lanes that people think they're going to win, and they just lose at the end of the game. So yeah, no, this is a really, really good deck, and it's one of the top decks in the meta. Did you get that Spider-Man, by the way?
Yes,
It's so cool. Well, I'm glad I saw someone share that it was a Discord thing? Was it a Discord mission or something that you had to do for that?
Play for like 15 minutes or something.
Yeah. I saw someone had it. I'm like, oh my god, I love that variant. I have to go get it. I didn't realize it was out there, and I saw someone playing. I'm like, where did you get this? And they told me about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to get that. I love the web borders on the Spider-Man things.
Oh yeah, they're awesome.
They look badass. Yeah, they need to do more things like that. Make more borders that can go along with cards. That I was hoping that when we saw the plan for character mastery, I was hoping that they would give you, and I know this would take a lot to make one for each card, but I was hoping they'd have some kind of a border that they give you that would kind of go with the card. I think that'd be awesome. Like a Galactus, like you have like a border that would just, I don't know, would go along with the Galactus card because you have the mastery for that card. I think that would be cool. I know it'd be a lot of work.
For, I don't know, like certain characters or group of characters, like Venomized border for like Venom characters, like an X-Men border for X-Men or Avengers or something.
Yeah, you can even do like a general one for like spacefaring characters too. Like people like Galactus that are always out in the universe, you could do like a spacey type one for them, But yeah, I thought that would be neat. I mean, the reactions thing don't thrill me at all. I don't care. I never use them. I literally never use them. When I see other people's variants, I'm not like, oh, look at that. That's cool. I got to put one of those the reactions on there. I never use them.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they value those at a high price too, because they're like the big thing in albums. And I'm like, yeah.
Like, I don't care.
No, I don't either. Like, I couldn't care less. So yeah, well, we'll see. We're getting weird backdrops at some point with the bananas and all that.
Oh yeah, I did see the bananas. I was like, that only goes with Hitmonkey. Like,
yeah, there's right. What else are you going to use that for? The ones with pizza and all that kind of stuff from the Deadpool thing too. It's like, what? Yeah, whatever. I don't know how well they're going to work, but all right. This is the one I was talking to you about. This is the KM Best one. He calls it Goon Knight Rises. This is just a mishmash of good cards. You have Korg, you have Hydra Bob, Fenris is in there for what Gambit's going to destroy or what Moon Knight's going to get rid of, or Black Bolt. Cassandra Nova, Gambit, Juggernaut for that last turn win. Moon Knight, Black Widow, Proxima Midnight, Darkhawk, Black Bolt, and Stature. So it's basically a Black Bolt Stature mid-range kind of list, but it's also an RSM counter because, again, you have Cassandra in there, you have Darkhawk in there as well. Proxima, again, is going to work well with the Moon Knight or the Black Bolt just as a last turn play. This is how these decks used to work, right? Like, they're just really good all mid-range cards. You can get a 1/7 in stature that you can play on your last turn along with the Darkhawk maybe on turn 6. You're going to get a 4/7 Proxima that's going to end up being played to, and sometimes to a lane where your opponent can play into, right? Like a blocked off lane, like a Sanctum or something that'll go in. You're getting some disruption with Black Widow. You're going to have the Fenris Wolf that's going to get something at some point out of your opponent. The Korg just going to shoot the Marok over to help the Darkhawk a little bit. That's another card you could play on turn 6 if you want to. So this has been really good. Like I was struggling in Diner big time. And then when I saw this, I went in and I won like maybe 10 or 12 matches in a row with this deck.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So this is a really good RSM counter. If the people who are listening don't have one and you have all the cards for it, I did post it. People are asking me for replacements, but it's tough. Like someone said, what do you replace Cassandra with? I'm like,
Oh, you can't.
You really can't. She's like a huge part of the deck. And then they were saying, what about Proxima? And that's another one that it's like there's not much you can say as far as what you can. Hydra Bob, you can maybe stick Martyr in there. You just need like a big one, like a one card that has good power. But there's not a whole lot. But have you tried this one at all?
Oh yeah, this is probably my go-to. I think I posted this on Twitter too.
Did you post it? Okay.
On Twitter.
Yeah.
And like the whole like Juggernaut Gambit on turn 6 with the Fenris Wolf has won me so many games.
Yep.
Like, I can play Juggernaut and then Gambit and then Fenris and then boom.
Yep.
And then if I snapped wherever my Bob goes to, he saved me some games too.
Yep. Yeah, because you're literally just stealing a card from them on the last turn. And that's, and if you grab something big that they're hoping to win with, like a real big card, if they have a Surtur deck, and you grab something big from them and you just bring it over to your side at the end of the game, that's huge. It's a huge turnaround. So this one's pretty good.
They make it that long because the Cassandra Nova counters those Surtur decks. They run as soon as you hit them with the Cassandra Nova.
Yep, they do. And
I think the only card I don't know, I'm not high on is the Black Widow at times.
Yeah, that can be a little weird because if now that she's an activate, if you get her later in the game, she's going to be useless to you. She's basically a 3/4 because you're not going to be able to activate to get them the Widow's Bite anyway. Yeah, have you swapped it out at all? Have you tried anything else in there besides her?
I was going to. I haven't had a chance to. I think I'm going to make a video on this deck actually. Okay. Nice. But I think I might swap out the Black Widow with something else. I'm not sure yet.
Cool. Yeah, I'll check out the video. I want to see what you put in there instead. Because, I found the same thing. A lot of times I'll get her and I'll get her too late. I'll get her like on turn 5 or like turn 4, turn 5. I'll get her and it just doesn't matter at that point because they're not going to care about getting it. They'll have all the cards they need by the end of the game. So, yeah, cool. I'll have to check out the video. So there you go. Check out PRASHAUN's video, guys, if you want to find out what he puts in for Black Widow.
Yeah.
Malekith and Wiccan. So this one's odd. It's a combination of like Surtur. You have some mill stuff in here too. It's Quicksilver, Shadow King, Cable, Hawkeye, Surtur, Baron Zemo, Copycat, Malekith, Wiccan, Arrow, Alioth, and Magneto. Let me get your thoughts first. So of the cards that we got this month, right? What are your overall thoughts of the cards we've gotten so far? And are there any? I know everybody's looking forward to Gorr, and Gorr might be the best card we're going to get this month. I think it looks to be, especially if the meta keeps up where it is and all the on reveals keep being played. He's going to be massive.
For sure.
So I know that's probably going to end up being like Surtur was good. Surtur took me from where I started the month at 73 almost to 97, like in just a couple days. But that was before he was countering it. Now it's not as easy. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the cards so far? Like obviously we had Malekith, we had Frigga, Surtur, and then So and then we all Eitri,
so. I'm starting to get higher and higher on Malekith.
Okay.
Because I've been playing him in my Toxic deck.
Yeah.
And he's been pulling either like Hazmat or Luke Cage at the end of the game.
Yep.
Just to get me those surprise wins. So I feel like Malekith is pretty good. Like he feels like a Jubilee that doesn't pull a bigger card. Like it's going to pull a lower card. And then, I don't know, Eitri, you might as well play something else. I feel like Idri's bad, especially when you're playing like a card like Jane Foster in the Hammers decks. Like there's no point of Eitri sometimes. He's just like a backup Jane just in case you don't get a hammer.
Yep.
Surtur's been pretty powerful. And the fact that like he brought like the whole Zabu and then like Typhoid Mary, Crossbone stuff, like the big dumb idiots decks that have been running wild. Like Surtur fit in perfectly in there where like it's so much power on the board, your opponent can only take out so much. And then if you're playing Cosmo and Armor, like there's nothing you could do to counter it.
Right.
And then you see like a deck like this that's like a hybrid of the Wiccan. Like Wiccan is so good in the game. Anytime you could get more energy, that's what you want to do. Like I think there's like another Wiccan deck 2 that I've been messing around with. Maybe I could look at it real quick.
Yeah,
Hang on.
No, sure. Take your time.
Let's see. I've been messing around with another Wiccan deck.
I'll read this off while you're looking. It's Quicksilver, Shadow King, Cable, Hawkeye, Surtur, Baron Zemo, Copycat, Malekith, Wiccan, Arrow, Eliath, and Magneto. So,
or maybe I have Snap Up on my computer. Let's see. Yeah, so there's another one I saw from Twitter. So it's Quicksilver, Hazmat, Domino, Cassandra, Rogue, Luke Cage, Red Guardian, Speed, Malekith, Anti-Venom, Wiccan, and Ajax. So that's what I've been playing with, and it's been pretty good.
Toxic one. Speed is a damn good card, man.
Yes, I think Speed, a lot of people weren't high on Speed because it was just a boring card. It was a simple mid-range card, but it could get you some crazy wins.
It does, yeah.
It's like a set it and forget it, a plug-and-play card.
Yeah, 100%. He's gotten to... I've had him at 3.8, 3.9 a bunch of times in games. So yeah, he gets up high. But yeah, I agree with you on Malekith. I enjoyed him in the Toxic deck too. How many times I won games because he pulled Luke Cage and people were just thinking like, oh, he's gonna lose. All his cards are taking the same damage my cards are. They're just gonna lose the game. He pulls Luke Cage on the very last turn, and I end up winning because of Luke Cage. Yeah, Malekith is decent. Frigga, I never play. Honestly, I never play it. I only saw that card as like I was thinking to myself, Kitty Pride. Remember when you used to build those double kitty decks where you just had huge kitties and the kitty would be a 1 whatever. I was thinking something like that, but I don't use her. I never.
I was trying Frigga and Destroy, so I would try to get like 2 deaths or like 2 Deadpools or 2 Venoms or something crazy like that.
Yeah,
it was okay. But I don't know. I think that's a card too. It's like, all right, I feel like I'm wasting a turn trying to get another card.
Yeah.
Like Death seems like the only card I found worth it because the power and the cost.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I didn't really see much from Frigga at all. And like I say, yeah, I agree with your points about Surtur and Malekith. Obviously, Eitri is that's another card too, where if you literally get that, could you imagine if you don't get that in like the first 3 or 4 turns? It's useless.
Yeah, it's especially since it's activate. It's like, come on.
Yeah, it's completely useless. So, yeah, I don't know. This month is, and I think I get your opinion on this too. You know, people are upset with the game, to say the least. There's a lot of upsetment and things out there. Maybe that has something to do with the seasons haven't been great. Like the cards have been okay, but like we haven't had, like, going back to, I like the symbiote season. I like the symbiote Spider-Man. I like the Scarlet Spider, but they're not, even those, you don't see them being played often. Like, I mean, I'll admit I like symbiote Spider-Man because it was a way for me to play Galactus again. But
just wait until Galactica.
Oh, I can't. I know. The minute I saw her, I'm like, yep, father-daughter deck, here we go. I am psyched for that. Because yeah, man, that's going to be all kinds of combinations, but I don't know. Maybe that's part of it. Like, and now I think people are pretty excited or pretty hyped about the Rivals stuff. It looks good. A lot of the cards look really good. Now I'm hoping they don't go in there and they don't change a lot of them, because some of them look like crazy. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen, but yeah, like, I mean, and now obviously we're getting Gorr, and then that's gonna do it for this month. But yeah, like, just overall, the last few sets have been they've been a little underwhelming.
Yeah, I feel like they've been trying to sell the season pass card. Like, Agent Venom was like very OP.
It was
to the point to where he got nerfed right after the season, and then even Surtur too felt crazy strong, where they had to change him a bit too, but. It feels like they've been trying to sell a season pass card for the most part. And then I think that's what has been a turnoff for most of the players. Because it's like, all right, you're selling me this card so I can reach infinite. And then you nerf the card like right after.
Yep. Yeah. I agree. Yeah, I think it seems that way, because the season pass card has been pretty strong. And then the other ones are kind of just like, they're like lackluster cards. So yeah, no, I agree. But Wiccan is strong. It's a good deck to play no matter which form of it you decide to play. Here's the one. Here's the gigantic deck that a lot of people. This is just one version of it. There's many of them out there, but this is the Arathanos 34 card deck. So Quinjet, Shadow King, Cable, Mobius, Agent Coulson, Shang-Chi, Legion, Blob, Mockingbird, Aliyah, Thanos, and Arishem. I mean, say what you will, this deck is working for whatever reason, and this kind of thing just shouldn't be. It just shouldn't be.
I think it's like the card draw. Whenever you have like Thanos and those stones, those card draws give you an advantage.
Yeah,
and the fact that you have that extra energy too, that way you're like one step ahead. Like it's hard to compete against.
It is. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to say much about that. It's very frustrating. So we'll move on. Here's an Ajax. This probably is similar to the deck you were talking about. This is Toxic Ajax. Zabu, Hydra Bob, Hazmat, Shadow King, U.S. Agent, Cassandra, Rogue is in here. Luke Cage, Malekith, Anti-Venom, Man-Thing, and Ajax. I think the Rogue is probably in this version because of Luke Cage's. Because obviously if somebody has a Luke Cage, that's not good for this deck at all. So you kind of probably maybe need something in there for that. But is this similar to the one you play, or is yours different?
It's a little bit different. I don't think I don't have the Zabu, and then I'm running Wiccan. That way I could get more stuff out towards the end.
Yeah.
But solid list. I think like Shadow King is very good. Even with Luke Cage on board, Shadow King still does his thing.
Yep.
I think the only bad part, I think, is like the Zabu.
Yeah, Zabu I think
is like too much.
Yeah,
especially when you have Malekith, Anti-Venom, and Man-Thing. Like maybe, like if Sarah was in this deck, maybe I would keep the Zabu.
Yeah,
because I do love like Toxic Sarah stuff.
I think I found this on this was on one of the sites. It may have been on Snapzone. I think I found this one. So I don't play this one in particular either. Mine's different too. In fact, let me pull mine up now real quick.
I think mine has, instead of like Zabu, I have Quicksilver. Instead of Shadow King, I have Domino.
Okay. So yours is Wiccan style. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I don't have U.S. Agent because there hasn't been that many cards going tall.
Yep. Yeah. Let me see where mine.
They have like Red Guardian too, just in case. They have like,
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Red Guardian is in a lot of these decks. Do you use Anti-Venom or no?
Yes, I do use Anti-Venom. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I would say like you can even add Valentina to this deck if you don't want to play like Shadow King. You can add Valentina. She's a very good card in this style.
Shadow King or Luke Cage, because you won't take the hit on her. Because her card is less. So good point. Yeah, this deck's just fun, and Ajax just gets big. I don't think anybody really respects Ajax. I really don't.
No.
They don't respect him. I mean, he can get as big as whatchamacallit does for Zoo. I forget his name. I always forget his name. The guy,
is it Gilgamesh?
Gilgamesh. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, he gets big. I mean, Ajax just gets huge. If you play the Hazmat down on your last turn, or if the Hazmat's hidden under Malekith or something like that, Ajax just gets gigantic, can win a lane by himself. And like PRASHAUN mentioned earlier, Man-Thing can just take out a lane too. Man-Thing can just solo lane. You can throw Man-Thing in a lane where they have a lot of early cards, 1 cards and stuff like that. And he just solos the lane. I am so happy to see Man-Thing doing well in the deck.
Yeah, me too. It was a card I was very high on, and then when he was released, it was like very lackluster. But I'm glad he's getting play now.
Yeah, there's rumors going around that they're making a Midnight Suns movie, and he's supposed to be in it. And I'm like, oh
nice.
Yeah. So
he was cool in the Werewolf by Night short that they did.
Extremely so, and it's thank goodness after that garbage of a Sci-Fi Channel version movie that we got for him years and years back. It was awful. But I've always loved the character. I've always been a big fan of his. So I'm glad to see that he's getting play. It's fun. All right. So now these are just. Did you get the Rogue variant?
Yeah, I got the Rogue variant.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Looks like a cartoonish kind of a.
Yeah, it reminds me of like the X-Men Evolution cartoon.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna skip and let's see, because I know you go over this stuff on your own, but I want to go to because you and I always talk about this anyway, and I have a part of my show now called Comics Corner. So,
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
yeah, I thought so. The discussions you and I had at the beginning, I'm like, I gotta do a thing about comics on the show now, because what I do is I basically just go over the newest cards and I talk about them, where they came from in comics and things like that. I'm not going to do that with you here, but yeah, like we always do. What have you been reading lately, man?
So I've been talked into reading Absolute Superman and Batman and Wonder Woman.
Okay.
And they've been pretty good so far.
Okay.
What else am I reading? I'm reading a lot of Spider-Man stuff.
Nice.
The Ultimate Spider-Man stuff is very, very good.
It's awesome. It's one of the best books I've read in a long time. And yeah, I have I ended up getting, because it sucks. I can't get to a comic store anymore. The one that I had that was closest to me, literally about 50 minutes away, now they closed. And I'm like, there's nothing near me anymore.
Wow.
So I had to end up getting the Marvel Unlimited app, which is okay. That's fine. But the problem is they don't give you new releases for like months. You don't see the new releases for like months after they come out. So it kind of sucks. I can get them in Comixology through Amazon and stuff like that too. But yeah, I unfortunately don't have a comic store anywhere near me anymore. But yeah, Spider-Man's great. If you guys are reading comics and you're not reading the Ultimate Spider, now do you read any of the other Ultimate books? I know there's a Black Panther, there's an X-Men.
So I've been reading Ultimate X-Men by Peach Momoko. I've been reading that one as well. Ultimate Wolverine comes out soon, so I'll be reading that. I've been reading Uncanny X. I read all the X-Men stuff, so Uncanny X-Men, Exceptional X-Men, NYX. I'm reading all of that. I'm reading other Spider-Man stuff. I'm reading Spider-Man Red and Black. I'm reading Spider-Man Reign 2. I'm reading Ultimate Spider-Man with Miles and
Peter. Yes, I've seen that title. Yeah.
So I have a lot of stuff on my plate, my reading plate lately.
You can tell PRASHAUN goes to comic shops because, and I laugh at this all the time. And this is the fun about going, right? Like when you'd go, and I had a double whammy because one of my best friends owned the comic store that I used to go to, which is very bad because whenever I walk in, they know what your tastes are more than a normal comic store owner would know, just simply because you're a customer. But I was a friend of his, so every time I'd go in, he's like, "You need to read this," and I'm like, "Oh no, dude!"
Or like there's something random in my pull list. I'm like, I didn't ask for this, but I'll read it.
It's like, here, look, check this out, and it's like I can go back to a lot of books that were like basically unknowns back in the day. Like I remember Preacher, when the Preacher comic book was out. He had told me about that. I was a reader of John Constantine, so I read Constantine books back in the day. And then he's like, "Oh, you might like this one," and he directs me to all this other stuff that I ended up, and then my pile of comics that I'd go and pick up became like humongous, that I'd go and pick up every week. But yeah, it's amazing to see like that. I'm happy that there's still, now the bookstore you go to, is it a big one? Or like, I know some of these have become like, a lot of them go into malls now because malls are like dead. So they get rent pretty cheap now and they move into these mall stores and they sell like a big bunch of like paraphernalia besides the books and all that kind of stuff. So is your shop just like a dedicated comic store, or are they doing like card games and all that kind of other stuff too?
It's mostly like dedicated to comic books. We might have like a little bit like toys and stuff like my son. Like, I bought like a Iron Man action figure from like 2008 or something.
Oh, nice. Okay.
My son ended up like opening it. I'm like, whatever.
Oh, don't.
But it's fine. But yeah, it's mostly comic books. I think they tried to get into card stuff, but I think they tried to get Lorcana. I was hoping they got Lorcana.
Oh, there you go.
But they got denied for that. Hopefully in the future they'll get it. But it's mostly comic books.
Yeah. So you're reading mostly Marvel, like a lot of Spider-Man stuff, huh?
Yeah, a lot of Spider-Man, a lot of X-Men, especially since the X-Men, like if you're trying to get into X-Men right now is the perfect time because everything basically reset.
Yeah.
And then I think pretty soon it's going to be X-Men versus Uncanny X-Men pretty soon.
Oh, okay. All right.
We'll see that going on.
Did you read the Spider-Man thing where they had where Green Goblin was back? And it was actually Norman Osborn, and that was a very weird story.
I did see like because I don't read Amazing Spider-Man because I
That's the
heard that
one.
that's
Yeah. Yeah.
terrible at the moment.
Yeah.
I,
It's
I did buy the issue where Miss Marvel died.
yes. Yeah. Yep.
So I have the death of Miss Marvel, and then I have her when she like resurrected in X-Men because she came back as a mutant, or she was a mutant the whole time, and blah blah
Yep.
blah. But yeah, I've
Amazing
been
was
staying away from Amazing Spider-Man. I heard that it's
amazing
not
is
that great at the moment.
it's really weird, man. Like the Osborn story involved like Craven and this it involved Sin Eater and like they were Sin Eater came and basically took Norman Osborn's goblin stuff away and made him a good guy. So then Peter was working for him in his office, and and now all of a sudden, then they brought the Goblin back again, and they literally even brought the Living Brain, the robot, back from like way old Spider-Man.
Oh, wow.
So it's very odd, man. Like it's. I was reading through it. I got done with it. I'm like, this was the most jumbled story. Craven was in it, and then they're bringing stuff from Craven's Last Hunt back, and I'm like, dude, this is like insane. So yeah, once I finished that, I'm like, yeah, I think I might get away from Amazing Spider-Man now and look elsewhere. Because
I would say Ultimate Spider-Man is where to go.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Yeah, that's for sure the title that you want to pick up if you're reading. The DC books you're talking about now, what are they? The Batman and Superman one?
So there's an absolute universe that's sort of just like the Ultimate Universe.
Oh wow.
So things like basically start over. I really like the Superman book.
Okay.
Because they talk about like their crest. The crest means like status and Krypton. So like if you had, I think the S on his chest means that like his family were like workers. And then like if you had a sun on your chest, that means you're a scientist. So like it's pretty cool where they're taking that.
Okay, so so they're just making like it means something, like the symbol actually means something.
And then
okay,
like
that's cool.
this Superman actually knew who his parents were. I think he didn't get sent off to Earth until he was like 6 or 7. He was like older, so like he understands things better. It's awesome. And then like Lois Lane works like for the Peacemakers. Like there's a Peacemaker group, like basically of soldiers. Like it's awesome.
I'll have to check that out, man. That sounds awesome. What about the Batman one?
The Batman one's okay so far, and I think the one I still need to read the Wonder Woman as well. I haven't picked that one up, but I guess like she's like from hell or something. Like she's raised down there instead.
Damn. Okay.
Like so, like I need to read that one. I think that's the one I need to read. Nice. But like Superman has definitely caught my interest for sure out of the 3.
Okay. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I haven't read a Superman book in a long time.
Yeah, it's been a while since to be honest, like I feel like DC's like unrealistic. It's like gods, like they're godly compared to Marvel. I think Marvel's more street level, like it can actually happen. Yeah. Sort of, it feels to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think that's where if you look back at the history of both of them, like that's the one thing. Like DC, their heroes aren't relatable. Because like you were saying, they're gods. They essentially are. Like Flash is like Mercury. Superman is like, they're all figures that you see that even Batman, like, while he seems the most realistic, you have to be a billionaire in order to relate to who he is. So yeah, no, I agree. And that's one of the things that Stan Lee said a lot of the times was that they tried to make their heroes just a little bit more relatable to people, to everyday people, like thinking to themselves, oh, hey, I'm this normal nerdy kid just like Peter Parker, and stuff like that. So yeah, I agree. I think that sometimes the books there have been stories throughout the years that have been good. I even went back I was on another show and I was talking about the death of Superman because I can remember I was out of comics at that time. Like I stopped reading them when I went to college, and then my mom decided to give all my comics away, which, oh my God, I'll never forgive her for. She gave away stuff that I like. I had the first appearance of the Punisher in the Spider-Man.
Wow,
gone.
That book is going for a lot now.
Yep, and it just gone. Like all that I had the death of Gwen Stacy. All of those like mid to late 70s Spider-Man books, whoosh, just gone. She gave them all away. I'm like, oh my God. Like it was, but I stopped reading and I remember then seeing the whole hype. Like it was all over the news about Superman's death. and all this thing. And then I'm like, okay, I need to get back into comics. So I kind of always have to thank that book for bringing me back into comics. And then, of course, you had all those major 90s events. Like you had the breaking of the bat with the Bane.
Yeah,
Batman.
Nightfall. Yeah.
You had
And then
Nightfall.
Azrael coming in.
Yep. Like all of these books that
Spawn.
Spawn. Yep. That's when Image started, of course, and all that kind of stuff. Image was a weird company. I liked some of their obscure books. I liked the Max. The one about
the Max was pretty cool.
Loved that book. Yeah.
I don't know. Some of the stuff was out there. Like I couldn't get into. Like I watched the cartoon of Wildcats. Like Savage Dragon was pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah. Some of it was weird. I can remember a book called Pitt, Pitt, that I read from them. Spawn was good. I love the Spawn HBO animated series. I thought that was done really well. Todd McFarlane still wants to get that back into another movie again. And his latest iteration that he was proposing to people was that it was a non-corporeal ghost. So that basically Spawn is a ghost, and you're not really going to have a mortal guy being Spawn. You're just going to see like the outline of it, and it's going to be in ghost form. And I'm like, oh boy. It's basically.
Have you seen the toys he's done lately?
I haven't seen any of the newer stuff. No, are they good?
He's taking the comic book covers that he did for Marvel and then making them into toys. So he did like I think the Spider-Man cover that he did, the Wolverine cover with the Hulk.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wolverine Hulk. Yeah.
Yeah, he made he's making pretty good action figures out of some of those iconic comic books.
Oh no, I haven't seen those. Cool. That's cool. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, McFarlane was an amazing artist back in the day. He got a little too big for himself. I think though he pissed off a lot of other people. But it was what it was. The 90s was like the heyday of comics in a way, but it was also bad for books because they printed so many and they're worth next to nothing now.
Because I think I bought The Death of Superman maybe like 10 years ago and it was like $1 on eBay.
Yep. Yo, you could find them everywhere. I remember going crazy trying to find that book when they talked about it, and you could not get it for less than like $150.
Oh, wow. I remember seeing it in a grocery store. So like back in the day, whenever you were in checkout, the comic books were in the magazine racks.
Yeah. They had those rotating racks in grocery stores. Those ones that used to squeak all the time. We used to move them around.
I remember seeing it there. And I think that happened recently where I bought a book when I think I was like 8. And I had to like describe the book to the comic book store owner, Chad. And then like, he was like, yeah, we got the whole run right there. And I was like, what? Like, that's like crazy.
Now.
Because I was reading the same issue of Silver Surfer like over and over and over.
Yep.
And then like knowing that there was like 5 more issues behind it. And I got to read those issues. It was awesome.
Yeah, they are worth less than nothing. And the Superman issue, for those of you who don't know, it came in a black bag. It was in like a black funeral bag that basically they had the Superman emblem on it, that with the blood kind of coming off the emblem on the front and stuff like that. But it was a bagged issue. It came with like an armband and all this kind of stuff. There was other stuff inside of it, but you could not find that book anywhere. Now I can go to a comic convention or something like that where they have bins and bins and bins, and you'll see them in their bins for like a quarter, 50 cents, $1. Like you can get them everywhere now. So because they were so mass printed, and that's actually a lot of people don't know, but that led to Marvel's going bankrupt. Many cases that because the comics did so bad, Marvel and that's what ended up leading them to sell off their properties. They sold. Yeah. That's why Sony owns Spider-Man to this day.
Every comic book was special edition or the foil covers.
Holograph colors. Or covers. Yep. Remember the X-Men, what was it? Fatal Attractions. And that brought back, obviously, because if you're watching X-Men 97 with the thing with Wolverine, which I was shocked they did, by the way, when they pulled that all out of him, and that's how the episode ended. I'm like, oh my, I couldn't believe they had that on an animated show.
Yeah. And crazy.
Yeah, it really was. But that was Fatal Attractions was another one. You literally have to read every X-Men title in order to get all those stories. Because if you weren't, you'd have to get these one-off issues just to read the entire story. And like PRASHAUN said, they all had like these little holograms on the front. They were foil covers. They made different editions of each book. And it was an insane time to read comic books. My friend that owned the store, he was making money hand over fist because everybody needed every book. You couldn't skip one. But yeah, it was a funny time to read books.
Yeah.
So, But well, that's awesome, man. Look, it's great to hear that that people are still reading, and that's why I do this. I just try to give people a little bit of information, like where they come from. Yeah, I'll talk about the new cards, and then just kind of show them or what, like Eitri came from. I think he's 1981 or 82. He came from a giant-sized Thor issue that came out, and then of course, there it is. The Thor annual was his first appearance. And I think this was 82 or 83. Yeah, 83 is the date down at the bottom. And then this, of course, is Gorr's first appearance, which I haven't read.
Did you read any of that?
I didn't. I should, though. Is it good?
Oh, it's so good.
Is it good? I have to read it then. Yeah. I remember seeing this because I remember the cover, but I haven't read it. And then, of course, I saw him in the film, and the film wasn't great. And his version of the film. I mean, Christian Bale, I like Christian Bale. But yeah, I definitely have to read this. So it's good.
They didn't do him justice. Like,
yeah, I figured.
Basically, like, I don't know, Thor has fought Gorr like throughout different periods of time.
Okay.
And it's amazing. Like, and the fact that like Gorr basically recreates his family, even though his family died. Like he becomes like all powerful. Like it's
yeah. See, I'm gonna have to check that out then, because the movie
it's so good.
The movie was like slapstick comedy. It
was bad. When Gorr's like a serious like kill every god there is character.
That's what I was thinking. Like when I saw the character, I'm like, this is gonna have to be a little bit more on the dark side, because I read about his character and I'm like, and then they made it just a comedy, and it was this was awful. But yeah, well, we'll see. I don't know. Chris Hemsworth even actually said it was too comedic, and had too much comedy in it. So maybe they'll change up. I know they're changing. I think they're changing directors. If they ever do another,
no more Taika Waititi.
Yeah. Ragnarok was fun, but
because I think Gorr and Null, these were characters that came out like around the same time.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool to see like these new like villains that actually meant something come into the comics.
Yeah.
And then the fact that they're like sort of attached to each other too, because of course Gorr has the all black sword that like Null had. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And now Sony is dabbling with Null, so we'll see where that goes. I didn't see the latest Venom movie, but I heard that Null was in the film for like all of half a minute or something.
Yeah, he's in there.
Is he? Did you see it?
Yeah, I went to see it.
Was it good?
It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's how Sony's films can be. If you can give a Sony film an okay, that's usually a pretty good review for a Sony film. I've watched them all too. I don't know whether I'm a glutton for punishment, but I've watched Madam Web.
I did not watch. That's the only one I skipped. Actually,
I watched Madam Web. It wasn't good. I know where they were trying to go, but when they had a young Uncle Ben in there, and then they had Peter Parker being born in there, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, where is this going? Like, none of this makes any sense. Like, some people were saying it was then supposed to be the origin of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I'm like, oh my God, like, just what a mess this
I don't even understand why they made a Madam Web movie.
I don't either.
Just to do a spider property, or just to say Peter Parker in a movie? Like, there was no point of a Madam Web movie.
I've heard people saying, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I've heard people say, because of course now the next one, Craven's being advertised, so Craven's coming out soon. I've heard them say that if they use characters in their films that Marvel can't. Yeah, I don't. Okay, so if that's true, then maybe they're just doing it out of spite. Maybe they're just like, well, we're going to do this Craven movie now, so Marvel can't use Craven in any of their films. But then again,
and then they have to do a Spider-Man movie, every 6 or 7 years for them to keep Spider-Man.
The license, yeah. Now I've heard, and again, I read like the rumors and stuff and watch some videos on YouTube like everybody else does. There's some people that are decent sources and some people just are not. But I've heard now that they may have come up with some sort of agreement. It may have involved Tom Holland's deal going forward, that they are supposedly, the rumor is now that the movie, the next Spider-Man, is maybe going to have Null in it. And they might be following the Secret War storyline. Because I think Null was involved in the one with Doom. So they may be following that and they might have Tom Hardy be in that film with Tom Holland. So they might be crossing them over a little bit. So if that's the case, maybe Sony's going to relinquish and start to give in and work with Marvel more, because their movies cannot be making money. They just can't.
No. And I think they had where Marvel can actually sue them for messing up the intellectual property by putting out these crappy movies.
Yep. Yeah, and that's probably a good thing. I mean, we've got, and here I'll skip down to that too, because this is actually part of my regular show as well. So I'll skip over to that part of it because we can go over this too. I do a thing called the MCU Minute, so I talk about the movies a little bit too. So we'll talk about the movies that are coming up as well. So I'm excited for this. I cannot wait for this, and the fact
except
that
for
we're getting
Sheila Ball. I want my normal Silver Surfer.
Yeah, I don't know why they picked the female.
I want my Norrin Rad.
Yeah, I don't know why they picked the female one instead of Norrin, unless, I don't know, maybe
it might be an alternate universe.
It could be, and it could be where they might have, because Secret War, all bets are off, right? They're probably gonna start over at the end of Secret War anyway. So that's when maybe they bring Norrin Rad into Secret War, and then he's the one going forward. So we'll have to see. But I can't wait for this. I've always been a huge Fantastic Four fan. I've read the comics since I was a kid, and the fact that we're getting an actual Galactus and not a purple cloud in this film is pretty badass. I think what they're following here, from what I gather, is the storyline where there was a storyline in Fantastic Four where their son Franklin ends up at some point becoming so powerful that he makes Galactus his herald in the books. So I think that's what they're doing here, because they're saying apparently now that Galactus is coming for Franklin. It's called First Steps because I guess Franklin's born in the film, and that he's apparently looking for Franklin Richards. That's the rumor. I don't know how true it is or not, but if that's true, then I think this is going to be good. I like the cast, and I like what I've seen from some of the photos so far. Like Thing actually looks like Thing, not just a pile of rocks. So yeah, I'm excited for Fantastic Four, and there's a lot coming out next year. I mean, we have the Captain America film, I think in February. Thunderbolts, which looks like fun. I can't wait to see Sentry, dude. Oh my God, they better do Sentry right. Yeah, they better do that right. And then of course this comes out in the summer, and then you've got Daredevil is coming out in spring. There's a whole bunch of Ironheart. Yep, and then
the Eyes of Wakanda.
Yep, animated series.
Zombies.
Yep, Marvel Zombies. That new Spider-Man, Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man animated series comes out like January, February. Is
Wonder Man next year too?
Yes, Wonder Man is this winter of next year. Yeah. So they're literally like, I don't know. People were saying, oh, Marvel is only doing like 1 or 2 things a year. Disney said no, dude. They have like 7 or 8 projects coming out next year, not including the films. So I had said this in Glazer's stream, and then this was the stream where he was talking to people about Marvel Snap dying and stuff like that. And I had said, Marvel stuff and Marvel properties and games like that are going to be popular when Marvel is popular. Yeah. And because Marvel didn't have much, we only got Deadpool and Wolverine, and then we got Agatha, did you watch Agatha?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
I liked it a lot.
I just feel like sometimes it's a lot, and then there's fan service too. Like you have to complete these stories, but there's so many stories going on. Where's Speed? Where's Vision? Where's Wanda? What's going on? Young Avengers or the Champions or whatever they're going to be called.
They have to be leading into Young Avengers, right? It has to be. Because you already had Kate Bishop and you had Ms. Marvel, and then you have Wiccan. You're going to get Speed and Stature. They have to be leading into that, and it's gonna eventually have to. I love how I love what's her face playing Death. I was like, oh, that's amazing. Yeah, the fact that she was Lady Death. I didn't see that there was a toy spoiler because of course Funko released.
Oh yeah, there was.
Yeah, I didn't see that, but as I was watching, I'm like, the only thing I remembered was, and I don't know if you read this. Did you read the Scarlet Witch series where they did the Witch's Road?
No.
Okay. I had read that, and I remembered back, and when she was on the Witch's Road, she literally had Agatha with her, but Agatha was a ghost at the time in the book, so she had already been dead. But the character that she was playing was a warlock in the comic series. So they came across this, but he was also an Irish, but he was also male. So I'm like, wait a second. This is probably like a red herring. She's probably not really this character. They probably named her this, but she's playing something else. But then when I saw Lady Death, I'm like, oh my! I've been waiting for Lady Death since the Thanos stuff. I don't know why.
I thought she was going to come with Thanos. But
I did too. I don't know why they didn't put her in that. I really don't. Like, why not
it
have
would
her
have
in
been cool with
Infinity?
Deadpool too, because Deadpool and Death.
Yeah. Like as well. I hope they use her more. And I hope maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll get to see an interaction with her, and because Josh Brolin said he's coming back for Secret Wars, so we'll see. But maybe we'll get an interaction, stuff like that. But yeah, I thought Agatha was good. These are just some of the pictures.
What if? I forgot What If is coming.
We have What If is coming, and this is the first time you're seeing an X-Men character in the What If series. So Storm is in it, so which is very cool. So we have What If coming out. That's this month. That's actually this month.
Next month.
Yeah, or next month rather. It comes out the end of next month and into January. So this is your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man right here. This comes out. This is the origin of Tom Holland's character, which I didn't know. So this is him when he first got bit by the spider is what they're basing this off of. So the animation looks neat in this. I don't know if you saw the poster and stuff for it, but it reminds me of like 60s stuff. It looks like the old 60s characters. Doc Ock with the flat head, like you used to have in the early 60s books and things like that. So this should be fun. I know a lot of people like Spider-Man and the animated stuff. They also had said that they were thinking about it, and oh my gosh, I hope they do this. X-Men 97 was fantastic. Now they're and Peter Parker,
the old school Spider-Man.
They're thinking of bringing X-Men. They're thinking of doing a 97 Spider-Man.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
That'd be amazing if they do that. Yeah, I would love that. I love that series. Daredevil Born Again is March 4th, 2025. Did you see the trailer?
Yeah, that's crazy too. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah. Muse is the villain, and I love Muse from the comics. Kingpin and Daredevil kind of have to team up in order to beat him. White Tiger's in it too, he looks really cool, striped white suit and everything like that. So, and Punisher, of course, is back. John Barenthal as Punisher is back in it. They're bringing all the cast. Supposedly, they're saying too they're bringing the rest of the cast back at some point. That Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, all the actors that played all those are supposedly all coming back.
Except for Iron Fist.
He's coming too. I was shocked. They said he's going to be in Shang-Chi too.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I was surprised at that because of all of them, that's the worst one of the Netflix shows by far. So I was surprised that they said they were bringing him back, but I don't know. I guess they're going to just give him another shot, maybe under like something where it's written better. Maybe he'll, who knows? Maybe he'll actually do better. So, I was surprised at that too. There is Ironheart. And that's June 24th. Her villain in it is the Hood, which is kind of cool.
Maybe some Mephisto action, maybe.
You might finally get Mephisto in a Marvel movie. Yes. How long has he been rumored? Oh, my God. Agatha, they did the same thing. It's got to be Mephisto. They even joked about it during that series. But, yeah, maybe we'll actually get Mephisto in the
Even
series.
in Marvel Snap, we still haven't gotten our Mephisto card, even though it's been like data mined forever.
Could you imagine if that came out the way it is and you get double your winnings in every game? Oh my God. You get like, instead of 8 cubes, you get 6, or you get 16. You'd go up levels like crazy or lose levels like crazy, whichever it might be. But yeah, that's been data mined almost as long as Gorr has been too. So.
Destroy every 6 drop.
Do you know which one I want? I want the Jonah Jameson card. I want cool that's hilarious, dude. And they even have all those Rooter emotes out so you can see what they all are. Yeah, I want that one. I'd play it every game just to be silly and stupid. But yeah, a lot of cool stuff coming out next year in Marvel. So I think, look, and we talked about it throughout this episode. Snap may not be in the greatest place right now. There's things that are happening that are upsetting people, but I think that if they turn things around, and obviously I want to get your final thoughts here. If they start to turn some things around, pay more attention to like the newer players, returning players, change up the card acquisition and things like that. If they get that started, and let's say they do follow through like they said they were going to do in January, maybe we get the draft mode that everybody's been asking for. I think to myself that with all this Marvel stuff coming, they could have a big year. They could really have a big year. Like if they have some seasons that are based around these Marvel series, like the Daredevil series, when when Daredevil comes out and based them around that. Fantastic Four and all the characters are in the game, but they could put cards out for that. They can do it like Herbie the Robot's supposed to be in there. They could do a Herbie card. They could do like villains like Mole Man.
I think Bullseye is a card that's data mined too.
Yeah, he's data mined. So like, you can hopefully they'll take advantage of that. But this could be a really, really big upcoming year in Snap if they make some of those changes. So yeah, what are your your final thoughts on the future of the game and stuff like that things to get excited for people about that could be coming up in Snap.
Yeah, I'm definitely still gonna play the game.
No,
regardless.
Yeah, me too. I'm the same way. I'm not leaving anytime soon. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm excited for the future to see what they'll do. Like, I'm still excited for like Marvel Rivals and all the other properties. Like, I am a Marvel fan. I go to the comic book shop. Like once a week. Like, and talk about all this stuff and talk about comics in general. So, like my passion and love for all this stuff will never go away. And me making content, like I never thought like, oh, I'm gonna make tons of money and make this my life. Like this is like a hobby. I've made awesome friends doing this. Like like this is like just like a hobby where I can hang out with my friends, like reach out to people from my community. And so I think it's been like a blessing, this game overall. So like it'll be near and dear to me. So I'll never doubt it or like, I don't know. Like I think it's fine to be critical, of course, like of things that we like a lot.
Sure.
But to say it's dying, I don't think so. We're not at that point.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. And PRASHAUN and I have played card games for a while, so we've seen the coming and going of things. Card games do come and go. Like it's like I mentioned that the Cypher Star Wars game, it didn't last because it was too hard to play. Nobody liked it. It was too hard. And like PRASHAUN mentioned, the new Star Wars game, it's not doing well because it's too expensive. It's too hard to play and stuff like that. So yeah, look, I agree with you. And I'm my listeners know I'm here until the bitter end. If it does go, I'll go down with the ship because yeah, man, I'm the same way. I've met great people like yourself. I've gotten to know so many people doing this now for a little over a year. I love talking about Marvel and I love talking about the game and stuff like that. So that's awesome. And I feel very, very similarly. So PRASHAUN, tell everybody where they can find you and how often you're doing your content.
Yeah, I'm coming fresh off of vacation a little bit, but I do post Marvel Snap stuff daily on my Marvel Snap channel. You can just find me at PRASHAUN on YouTube, and I'm on Twitch as well once my house is fixed from after the hurricane stuff.
Oh man, you went through that. Did you?
Yeah.
You get a lot
so
of damage.
my setup is in my bedroom right now, so
man.
I can't even stream at night because like my wife sleeps in here and she'll
yell
at me.
Yep.
So I'll be back to that soon. And then, of course, Twitch, PRASHAUN_Snap. And then I have a Pokemon channel and Rivals channel, but they're dormant at the moment. I'll start posting content there soon. So that's where you can find me.
There you go, guys. Yeah, make sure to check out PRASHAUN. He does good stuff. PRASHAUN's had so many different things on his channel that you were doing that video once before with that other I forget her name. You were doing videos
Amanda McKnight. Yeah. So next year I might have a comic book channel dedicated to comic book stuff. Because I've been talking to her about it. Like for some odd reason, comic book stuff doesn't work well on a Snap channel. It's weird. It has to be on a separate channel. Like even Cozy had to put it on a separate channel.
Yeah.
For some odd reason, like a card gamer doesn't care about lore. They just want to win.
Yeah.
So I might have like a separate channel where I talk about all the comics that I pick up during the week. Maybe even like some in real life stuff of me going to the comic book shop and then talking about lore. So I might be doing that next year. And then of course featuring Amanda as well.
That's awesome. Yeah. You'll have to have me on. That'd be great. I'd love to do
Yeah,
that, man.
for sure.
That's amazing. Yeah. Check it out, guys. He really does good stuff over there, and all the videos, whether it's him just talking Snap, it talks about like bundles and stuff that are coming out and all that kind of stuff, and whether or not you should get them. PRASHAUN's great, and man, thank you so much. This is the third time PRASHAUN's been on, and he's going to be on more in the future, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah, it was the first.
Yes, you were. Yeah, that's right. He was my first guest on the show, man. Thanks so much for coming out. Always appreciate the time, man. And sure. Guys. So try to stay positive. It's not as bad as it may seem. And don't always believe what you read on X, because X can literally be the worst. Yes, it is. It is literally the cesspool of social media, no doubt. So don't always believe what you read. So stay positive, guys. As far as I go, I will be back later tonight. Actually, I'm doing my normal podcast that I'll have for the week. And then I believe myself and Nick the Greek Geek will be doing our show a little bit later tomorrow. I believe that'll be out this week. That's called Two Dudes Snapping. So check that out. And as far as that goes as well, if you are listening from wherever it is, if you're listening on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you drop a like, some comments as well. If you're listening on audio, whether it's Spotify, Apple, or whatever else, leave a review. Follow me there as well. It helps out also for me. So that's going to do it for this episode of Snap Decisions. I thank PRASHAUN, as always, for being on with me.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Anytime, my friend. And guys, I will talk to you all on the next episode of Snap Decisions. Have a great one, guys. Take care, and I will talk to you all soon.
If only I had spidey senses.